By remaining mindful and centered in the present, we can protect our sense of self from being undermined by manipulative tactics like gaslighting. It's important to remember that your memories, your experiences, and your truth are valid. Don't let anyone distort your reality or make you question your own perception. Stand firm in your clarity and respond with confidence, focusing on the facts that can be verified and always striving to maintain your peace of mind. By understanding these 5 questions liars often ask, we can better protect ourselves from emotional manipulation and maintain our integrity in relationships. Buddhist wisdom encourages us to stay grounded in truth, mindfulness, and clarity. Trust should be earned through consistent, ethical behavior, and when faced with manipulation, we can use our discernment to navigate these challenges wisely. By practicing awareness and responding with compassion, we protect not only ourselves but also contribute to a more honest and harmonious world. As we continue on our journey through life, it's important to recognize the tactics of manipulation, but also to remain steadfast in our commitment to honesty and integrity. By sharing these insights with others, we can collectively create a more transparent and trustworthy world. Thank you for watching Buddhist Wisdom Daily. If you found this content helpful, please subscribe and share it with others so that we can continue promoting mindfulness and understanding together. It's a subtle but powerful technique aimed at destabilizing your sense of self and convincing you that your version of events is incorrect. In Buddhism, mindfulness is key to understanding the world around us. The Buddha often spoke of the importance of clarity and being present in the moment. He said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This simple yet profound teaching points to the power of awareness and how our mental state shapes our reality. When someone tries to distort your perception of past events by asking, "Don't you remember?" they are attempting to rewrite history to suit their needs. This tactic can cause confusion, making you question your own memories, experiences, and even your reality. But the Buddha's teachings remind us to stay grounded in the present. Mindfulness helps us observe situations without becoming attached to them or losing ourselves in doubts. So when someone says, "Don't you remember?" the key is not to allow them to erode your confidence in your own recollections. Instead of getting caught up in their attempt to rewrite history, a better response would be, "I remember things differently, but let's focus on the facts we can verify." This response brings the conversation back to the present, emphasizing the importance of tangible, verifiable truth. Buddhism teaches us that clarity of perception comes from being mindful and aware of our own thoughts and experiences. When someone tries to manipulate our memories, we must remind ourselves that our perceptions and experiences are valid. The Buddha emphasized the importance of staying true to our own understanding and not allowing others to cloud our minds. Just as a calm pond reflects the sky without distortion, we must keep our minds clear from the distortions created by others' manipulations. There is an old Zen story that reflects this idea. A monk approached his master and said, "Master, I cannot meditate. My mind is always distracted by the past, by memories and worries about the future." The master replied, "Do not seek the past. Do not anticipate the future. The mind is like a clear mirror. It reflects exactly what is placed in front of it, without distortion. You must allow the mirror to be clear and still to see reality as it is." This story is a reminder that when we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by others' manipulations or by false recollections, we lose the ability to perceive reality as it is. In those moments, we need to pause, recenter ourselves, and focus on the truth of the present moment. The Buddha's teachings stress the importance of right speech, one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. Right speech involves speaking truthfully and kindly, avoiding gossip, and refraining from speech that harms others. Keeping secrets, especially those that might damage the trust of others, goes against the principle of right speech. By practicing honesty, we maintain our integrity and avoid being complicit in deception. The fourth question that liars often ask is, "Who told you that?" On the surface, this may appear as a harmless inquiry, but it is actually a manipulation tactic designed to deflect attention away from the real issue and redirect it toward the source of your information. This tactic is often used when someone feels cornered by the truth and doesn't want to address the issue at hand. By shifting the conversation from their own behavior to your source, they attempt to control the flow of information, making you feel uncomfortable or guilty for sharing what you know. A story from Buddhist teachings comes to mind when we think about this tactic. The Buddha once told his followers to let go of their attachment to personal views and opinions, to see beyond the surface and seek the truth. He compared our attachments to opinions as a veil that blocks our vision. This story teaches us that focusing on personal details, like who told us something, is not important if we are seeking truth. What matters most is the issue itself, the facts. In manipulative situations, the question, "Who told you that?" is designed to intimidate you into thinking that your information is either irrelevant or that the person who told you something is untrustworthy. It's a way of creating a distraction to avoid confronting the real issue. In Buddhism, we are taught that attachment to the ego into personal gain prevents us from seeing things clearly. When someone asks, "Who told you that?" the important lesson is not to get caught up in the distraction. Instead, respond with wisdom. The source isn't important right now. What matters is the issue at hand. This way, you take the conversation back to the facts, preventing the manipulator from steering the conversation away from their own behavior. The Buddhist teachings often emphasize the impermanence of things. Just as a leaf in the wind can easily be blown away, so too can the focus on irrelevant details like, "Who told you something?" In many cases, we don't need to prove the credibility of a source when the facts speak for themselves. By maintaining clarity, we stop the manipulator from controlling the conversation, and we protect ourselves from getting lost in irrelevant distractions. The final question manipulative people often ask is, "Don't you remember?" This is one of the most common forms of gaslighting, a psychological manipulation tactic where the manipulator tries to make you doubt your own memory and perception of reality. The second question frequently asked by liars is, "Why would I lie about that?" At first, this might seem like a perfectly reasonable question. After all, why would anyone lie about something so trivial? The manipulator's goal is not to seek an honest answer, but to subtly shift the focus from their actions to their presumed honesty. This question is designed to make you question your own perception of the situation and make you feel foolish for doubting them. But the truth is, people lie for many reasons: fear, desire, self-protection, or simply to gain an advantage. The Buddha teaches us that everything in life is impermanent, and nothing is as simple as it seems. He said, "All compounded things are subject to decay. Strive with diligence." In this, the Buddha reminds us that people's actions are often motivated by a complex web of emotions and desires, not always by the simple truth. People lie to protect themselves, to gain an advantage, or sometimes just because they can. When someone asks, "Why would I lie about that?" they are trying to create a false sense of transparency and misdirect your attention away from the facts. Rather than getting caught up in their defensive question, it's important to stay focused on what you know to be true. One of the most powerful things you can do is not to accept their question at face value, but to respond with clarity. A response such as, "I'm not accusing you of lying, I'm just trying to understand what happened," helps to keep the conversation centered on the facts without being manipulated by their defensive question. The Buddha taught us the importance of discernment. In Buddhism, we are encouraged to observe the impermanence of life and recognize that things are not always as they appear. Just because someone presents a question in a way that seems reasonable or innocent does not mean it is free from ulterior motives. Responding with mindfulness and focusing on the facts allows you to maintain clarity and avoid being drawn into the web of manipulation. Another common question liars ask is, can you keep a secret? At first glance, this question might seem harmless, even flattering. After all, who doesn't want to feel trusted with private information? But the truth is, this question is often used as a manipulation tactic to create a false sense of intimacy and obligation. When someone asks you to keep a secret, they are often testing your boundaries and seeing how easily they can convince you to engage in behavior that could compromise your integrity. In Buddhism, we are taught that honesty and openness are essential in all relationships. Secrets, especially those that may harm others or violate their trust, create divisions and foster negative mental states such as attachment, greed, or envy. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to live in harmony with others, to cultivate transparency in all our interactions, and to avoid actions that may lead to suffering or conflict. When someone asks, "Can you keep a secret?" it's important to evaluate the intent behind the request. Is the information being shared with you in confidence, or is it meant to manipulate or control you? Rather than immediately agreeing to keep a secret, it is far wiser to assess whether doing so is in alignment with your values. Responding with something like, "I believe in honesty in all my relationships," helps set clear boundaries and reinforces your commitment to transparency. Welcome to Buddhist Wisdom Daily. Today we will explore how to identify manipulative tactics, specifically focusing on 5 common questions used by liars. These questions are designed to make you doubt yourself, your judgment, and your sense of reality. But through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, we will learn how to recognize and handle these deceptive tactics with mindfulness, patience, and understanding. Trust is the foundation of every relationship. When trust is broken, it's not easily repaired. However, if we understand the subtle ways in which manipulators attempt to control us, we can protect our minds and emotions from being led astray. The Buddha's teachings guide us to develop wisdom and discernment in our interactions with others. Whether in intimate relationships, the workplace, or casual conversations, deception is a reality we all must face. By recognizing the 5 key questions liars use, we can protect ourselves and maintain our peace of mind. Let's begin this journey of awareness together. The first question manipulative people often ask is, "Don't you trust me?" On the surface, this might seem like an innocent question, one that any loving partner, close friend, or trustworthy colleague might ask when questioned about their actions. However, it is deceptively simple and loaded with emotional pressure. It's not really about trust. It's about making you feel guilty for doubting them, even when their actions may have proven unreliable. When you answer, "No, I don't trust you," it feels like a betrayal of the relationship, even though you may have valid concerns. In Buddhism, trust is not a blind, unconditional surrender of oneself to others. Trust must be based on wisdom, compassion, and discernment. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of understanding the nature of relationships and how they are built on consistent and truthful actions. When you trust someone, you are trusting their actions, not just their words. The Buddha himself said, "Do not believe anything just because you have heard it. Do not believe anything just because it is spoken and rumored by many. Do not believe anything just because it is found written in your religious books. Do not believe anything merely on the authority of your teachers and elders. Believe only what you yourself test and judge to be true." When a manipulator asks, "Don't you trust me?" they are attempting to turn the situation around and make you feel guilty for even considering the possibility of distrust. It is a classic manipulation tactic designed to deflect attention from their suspicious behavior. But when you understand this as a manipulative strategy, you can counter it with wisdom. The key is not to fall for the emotional trap. Instead of getting caught up in the guilt, respond with clarity and focus on the facts. For example, say, "This isn't about trust. I'm simply asking about this specific situation, and I want to focus on the facts. This helps you avoid the emotional manipulation and keeps the conversation on track. The Buddha taught that trust is built through transparency and consistency, not emotional manipulation. In our everyday lives, whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or casual interactions, trust should arise naturally when people are truthful and reliable. By recognizing when someone uses guilt as a tool to manipulate, we protect ourselves from emotional traps and ensure that our relationships remain based on integrity and trust.